All right, we got today's guest on, and Brynn, we knew each other online, just hanging out in the wonderful world of social media, right? Like MySpace and all the cool places. And then, hey, anytime I go to an event, by the way, FYI, where there's like people that don't understand social media, I tell them with a straight face, I'm going to give you the best MySpace strategy.
Oh, do you
Are you ready?
Good.
And the people that don't understand social media at all, like the ones that aren't on it ever, they're always like, really? I'm like, yeah. And the other people are laughing and they can't figure out why, right? What's going on? I'm like, I'm going to give you the top Tom strategy there is. And of course, they have no idea what's going on. So, no. And then we got to hang out, right? We had fun at the mastermind in Destin, which I don't know, was it a year and a half ago now? Time just flies by. It's crazy. It's crazy. It just goes by. But Brynn's, she's fun. She's funny on social media, which is more important than the fact that she's a top earner. And of course, she's also an incredible human being. But I still got to go with how much I appreciate who you are. I appreciate your humor. I always love how bold and direct you are on social media. You're entertaining. Attention's the number one currency of marketing, and you're just yourself. I know that, but sometimes it's tough to show right ourselves and who we are. So why don't you give them like the bullet point? Let's pretend like your mom wrote your bio. Okay, your mom wrote your bio.
I don't know
what would she write if she took the greatest highlighted achievements ever? Like bullet point.
Oh man, that's not usually how I introduce myself. It's funny that you said that I'm funny because my husband tells me all the time how not funny I am, but he thinks he's hilarious. He laughs at his jokes more than anybody else laughs at his. Like he was just
someone
there
does.
over himself. I'm like, and you think you're funny and I'm not. Anyways, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me, Rob. And you are quite hilarious yourself on social media. So I see we had a good connection there. So hi guys. I got to get some whoop whoops. It's kind of how I roll. I'm a whoop whooper. My name is Brynn Lang. So I have been in entrepreneurial world since 2014. I actually got started. I was super skeptical. Oh my gosh. Like those people that you guys hate to talk to that are like, that's like a pyramid scheme thing. That was me. I was that person. I'll be 100 with y'all. I was like, I will never, ever do that stupid network marketing thing. That's where people lose all their money. But I was a struggling personal trainer. I had a 5-year-old son. My husband and I owned a restaurant. He was always working. I'm dragging my kid in and out all day long. And I had a friend walked in one day and like super excited. He was like, dude, I just bought socks without checking my bank account. And I was like, oh, like, it's like those little things, like putting $5 in your gas tank and having to cut every coupon, like that really like make that feeling happen. And I had been standing in Target staring at a pair of shoes for my kid and the week before and asking myself how long I could make his shoes stretch a little bit longer because I couldn't afford them. Like they grow out of shoes really freaking fast. And so I was like, it was one of those times where you're like, nothing changes. The right person on the right day said the right thing. And I joined the network marketing industry and I sucked balls. I sucked really bad. My upline didn't know what they were doing. Their upline didn't know what they were doing, but I started to see that this could be an incredible thing for me and for my family. I started to see the vision of a future of freedom, of not having to worry about having enough money at the end of the month. And so I was really coachable. I was a total spammy butthole. I did everything that they told me to do. And I, found myself banging my head against the wall constantly. But, over the years, sucked until I sucked a little bit less, kept plugging in, kept learning things. 4 years in, almost quit the industry because I thought it was honestly broken. I almost lost my family. I was working all the time. I was always on the phone. I was always on Zooms. I was always in people's houses. I was traveling every weekend. And that life of freedom that I had imagined, I did not have. I was making a little bit of money, but I was miserable. In fact, my kid literally told me he didn't think I loved him anymore because I never paid attention to him. And that is nothing you ever want to hear as a parent. And so I almost quit, decided to learn how to do it differently, learned how to work less, make more.
And that was 4 years in when you almost quit?
Yeah, 4 years in. So about halfway through where I'm at now. And literally when I decided to learn how to do it differently, to learn how to really get focused, really get intentional, really get super efficient, that's when everything changed for me. And literally started a new business, went from $0 to $1 million a month in a year. And that has continued to grow. And I have done it all by working actually a lot less than I worked before, and have a ton more freedom with my family. But I will tell you guys this, and as we go into this conversation, like, you're going to have to hustle. I hate people who say you don't have to hustle, because you do have to hustle to have success. There's just a different way of figuring out how to hustle and doing it at the sacrifice of everything else that matters to you. So I don't know if that's what you wanted. It's probably not the bullet points of all of my great.
That's the story, right? That's what people want, is the story behind the story. I mean, people want to hear like the real raw version, the struggles that we all go through. Because if you haven't gone through burnout, you haven't been in network marketing long enough. Most of us have to learn through trial and error. A lot of us, we pride ourselves on the sacrifices we make when we're all in and committed. And we don't realize that not all sacrifices are equal. Like most people, when they say, I sacrifice this, I sacrifice that, they aren't necessarily really truly working their business. So the sacrifice was worthless. And that's painful to hear. But I mean, if the end of the week, you tell us that you missed this son's basketball game and this daughter's, tennis match and this daughter's soccer, and you miss this with your spouse or partner, and the end of the week we ask, how many new people did you reach out to? And you tell us 4. You could have done that in 20 minutes, right? It's like that association of trading time for money takes so long to undo, because in a job you get paid X amount for working X amount, right? And now the compensation plan could care less. So I don't know. For me, it took a lot of really undoing, because I prided myself on, I didn't watch a second of TV, right? And I was missing this and that.
It's like we wear a badge.
Yeah.
And this industry promotes that, right? Like massive action, hustle. If you're not hustling and grinding all of the time,
team no sleep,
you don't want it bad enough. Right? It's like a badge.
Yeah.
I remember in my first experience, like it was like you were the bomb.com if you're at your kid's baseball game with your earphones in doing 3-way calls. And we're posting this on social media, and we actually think people want to join us. They're like, no, thank you. I don't want to be that person, right?
You're like time freedom, stay at home business, and then you're showing the complete opposite. And I like how you prefaced of, there is the hustle, but it's just learning when and how to effectively hustle, in my own words, of what you were saying. Because it's not like we're not telling you go work your business for 20 minutes a week and this is how you reach the top ranks. That's not possible. But we're also giving perspective of the opposite of the old school. I mean, I was taught, just tell your spouse how hard you're working, and she can shove, like, literally, this is like almost word for word, she can shove the food like underneath the door, open the door and put it there, because that is all you're doing. You're not going to sleep. You're going to sleep when you're dead. And it was like, there's only so much time one typically spends reaching out to new people, and the rest is just fake working. And so I love how you preface that, because we've all been through that, right? The massive burnout. So give us a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about burnout. I know you've been through it. You just talked about it. You got some tips and some strategies how people can work a little bit more effectively, so they can avoid more of it. They may still go through it, which can be a perspective, as I know. But what are some ways to help them to stay in that zone a little bit more and have a little more efficiency?
Yeah. So the first thing is like, I find that there are really two types of entrepreneurs or network marketers, right? There's the first type who's really busy with their life. They've got a day job, they've got kids, they've got sports, they've got all these things. They're just busy, right? And they're so busy with life that they really find it hard to show up consistently to get results in their business, right? Like, so they're too busy with their life to build a business. And then you have those other people who are more so probably like us, leaders who created a certain amount of success. We are on our phones all the time, and we are working and we are working and we were working and we are grinding, because we really want to create something. And we work so hard, we forget to build a life. And so what I have tried to do for myself and for my team and for my clients is to help them find that middle ground, because you do have to show up consistently. You do have to put the effort in. Like, you do have to do the income producing activities every day. Like, you have to find time to do those things when you're in the busiest business life. But you also have to realize that you can't sacrifice everything in order to do that, right? Like you said, sacrificing, it depends what you're sacrificing. I might sacrifice Netflix, but I sure as hell am not going to sacrifice date night with my husband or intentional one-on-one eye time with my teenager, even though I have to like beg him to do it, right? I literally have to watch Rick and Morty to get, time with him, but whatever, man, like whatever I got to do, I'm not going to sacrifice that. And so it's really about, number one, figuring out like, what are the things that are most important to you? Because at the end of the day, most of us waste a lot of time doing a lot of unimportant shit, right? Like let's be honest. How many of you are scrolling? This is the worst, right? You ask somebody what amount of time they put into their business, like working it effectively. And like, what did you do? Well, I was on social media. What were you doing on social media? I was scrolling. How is that effective at all? Right? And so if you can dial it down to the things that matter to you most, like for a lot of people, it's the 5 F's, faith, family, fitness, fun, and finances. Fun is part of my life in all areas. So I kind of just throw that out the window, because if it ain't fun, I ain't doing it. Mine are my faith, my family, my business, and my health. And so when I start to sit down and look at what I'm doing on a daily basis and really like getting like super focused on where my time is going, I start to take out and eliminate the things I'm doing that aren't feeding into those things that matter to me most, right? The key is quality over quantity. We live in this guilt cycle, right? Us as entrepreneurs, we feel guilty when we spend too much time with our family because we should be building our business, and then we feel guilty when we're working our business too much because we should be spending more time with our family. So it's more so about quality over quantity. My husband doesn't need 2 hours of uninterrupted eye-to-eye time with me every day. He'd probably go crazy, right? But he really likes to have 20 to 30 minutes, right? Same thing with my kid. Like, I gotta like beg this kid to hang out with me. He doesn't need 2 hours of me pouring my time into him. He probably needs about 15 to 30 minutes, depending on what kind of day he's having, right? And starting to realize that you can schedule these things in intentionally without your phone. Because what happens as you start to do that, your workout, whether it's 15 minutes, whether it's 30 minutes, like not on your phone, is your energy is so much higher. You feel good. Your family feels good. Your health feels good, right? All these other areas start to feel good. And then guess what? When you sit down to intentionally work your business, you feel good. Your energy's high. You're not like, oh my God, I have to go reach out to people. You're like, yeah, man, I can go reach out to people, right? It's a big difference in the feeling. And so in order to make sure that you are getting both that quality time in your life and also doing your income producing activities, right? I like to not only like schedule my business hours, but schedule my life hours for the week. I sit down on Sundays and I go through the things that matter to me, and I start to schedule in first the things I have to do, because we all got to do like dentist appointments and, like getting our kids to school, all that kind of stuff. But then I schedule in all the things in my life that are important to me, my workouts, my devotional time, my time with my spouse, my time with my kid. And then I find all the other time that I have that I'm probably wasting doing stupid crap. And I put my business hours in for intentional, focused time. And then from there, I like to help people pick their base numbers and their stretch numbers, right? So we want to be consistent all the time, but every day is different. Every season of our life is different, right? Like we just talked, you're coaching tennis right now, like, and you're going into the state finals. You probably have less time in a day right now in order to do income producing activities, right? And so there are other times in your life, Rob, where you're not in the state finals and you have a lot more time to build your business and build your brand. And so you'll have more time on those days to do those income producing activities. So I like to say base numbers and stretch numbers. A base number would be a number in your income producing activities, right? Like the things that you know you have to do every day that like you could hit with like a blindfold on, your hands tied behind your back. Like it's easy. You can do it in like 5 minutes and 10 minutes. Y'all, my base numbers are 1. Like if I'm having a busy time of life or a busy day, I will make sure I talk to one new person. I will process one new person. I will follow up with one person. I will ask one person for a referral, right? Like base number is 1. So I know that when I put my head down on my pillow at night, I could feel good because I did. But on the good days, on the days where like I have a lot of time, I like to have my stretch numbers. These are like big gold numbers. Like my stretch numbers are 20s. I've never hit 20 in all of my income producing activities ever on one day before, ever. And I've tried really hard. But the whole point is if you can fall somewhere between your base number and your stretch number every single day, you stay consistent and you feel good because you can lay your head down on your pillow at night and you go, I did it, instead of beating yourself up because you didn't do enough. Sorry, I went off on a tangent there.
I got a ton of like one worder notes and different notes as we go right there. What you're talking about when you're talking about those numbers and it doesn't matter is because you're talking about progress. That's the definition of happiness. It's just progress. As long as we're progressing, we're happy. Things may take longer than we would have hoped, but when we have progress, we do have hope, and that hope gives us happiness. There's a reason why most billionaires don't retire. It's no longer about the money, and many people just can't conceive that. But for them, they understand that life is all about progress. And so for them, the business is just a progress for them. You talk about energy, right? That right there is, I think, one of the biggest missing components that's not talked about enough in network marketing. I mean, the simple thing I do this at, I talk about this at mastermind events, my bigger events. We start out, our energy is up here and our knowledge like really, really high, right? If you're tuning in, listening to the podcast, then you can't see, but imagine my hands really high. And then my hands really low on knowledge. And so we have like this extreme of high on energy, low on knowledge. And most people have more success in sponsoring their first 2 months when energy is high and knowledge is low. All of a sudden, really close friend or family member says, are you doing one of those things, Betsy? They don't work. It didn't work for me, right? And so what happens? The energy, oh my goodness, right? The judgment's coming, the rejection, maybe the failure. So the energy goes down, 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 the rejection. So what am I going to do? I got to fill that void. So they try to fill the void with more knowledge when they don't understand that the knowledge never compensates for energy. The knowledge is to hope. The hope is to help increase the energy. You can't replace the energy. And people just mistake in that. So when you're talking about like really how to have quality time in different aspects of your life, this helps so that when you do reach out to, 5 new people, energy and passion and everything is at a much, much higher level. And it helps you so that you don't go through, as you talked about, that guilt cycle. Guilt's a funny thing. I mean, I look at it and I say a little bit of guilt's good because it tells you the difference between right and wrong. If we don't have it, we don't even know the difference between right and wrong. Too much guilt turns into shame, right? To the point of no return, where all we do is just beat ourselves up for what we didn't do and what we think we're not going to do. And that vicious cycle just keeps going. And so, it's just so well laid out. And what I love is the fact you've been through it. You went through the lowest of lows of 4 years grinding your face off, right? And doing the wrong kind of hustle to still hustling now, but how to do it. So I know you and I were talking, you've got an awesome workshop. For me, I always love promoting. And what's cool is did you know I haven't done anything? I'm not saying, well, I will someday, but for 4 years, I haven't done anything affiliate wise. And even with this, I'm not.
Wow.
So there's nothing wrong with being one. I think it's awesome. But for me, it's more of, I just like to find things that I love, free or not. And I know you guys actually do have a free workshop that is going to help out a lot of people with this mindset and recruiting A players. And so tell them a little bit about it and where they can find it.
Yeah. You know what I love about you, Rob? You are like such a giving human being. You're a server. You're a giver. It's why I was attracted to you as a coach and as a friend, you know, and I think there's a lot of that missing in the entrepreneur world. It's all about make money, make money, make money. I love to make money. I know you love to make money.
I do.
But at the end of the day, like, you will make way more money if you are a good human and you like everything that you do is to serve and to give. And like, just, you know, messaging you, Rob, and saying, hey, we have this thing going, like, we're really excited about it. And you're like, yeah, man, I love sharing stuff. You know, you're just a good human. So I love that you said that you share because you care and you want to put stuff out there that helps people. So that's just awesome.
I appreciate it. And you just nailed it. I mean, I learned a long time ago, the secret is honestly, if you just provide more value and take care of people, it comes full circle. I had a coach, really, really good coach. And it was when my first book came out and he said to me, you know, I just said, hey, I'd love it, you know, if you just make quick posts or something. And he asked me how much he was getting paid for it. And I'm like, well, I'm paying you as a coach. And I just thought, you know, I have no problem paying. I was already paying. I just thought it's just a simple post. So I'm like, I don't think our sales are really going to work out well. And that's okay. You can still learn from everyone. But, you know, that's what it's about. And you're doing that. I know you guys are always focusing on leveling up the profession, which is just so fun to see. And little known fact, these mastermind events I do, you know, you've been to them. I learn the most. Even though I'm teaching, I have no problem sharing that. I learn the most. I'm always learning what other people are doing and how they're doing and what they're saying. Like I'm taking notes on some of the things you're saying and how you're saying them. I'll try to give you credit for the first 2 times. If I forget after, you can just shoot me a social media Slack and then I'll go back to it. Sometimes I just forget, right?
Oh, that's funny. You know, it's crazy. And I'll share about the A-Player Workshop, but I had somebody several years ago, a really, really, really big leader from another company that was looking to come over and join our company and was interviewing me. And when we got off the phone, I literally said to this person, they said, I'm super excited to work with you and learn from you. And I said, I'm really excited to work with you and learn from you as well. And this person decided not to join me and to join somebody else because of saying that, because they did not want a mentor that wanted to learn from them. And that was like a really big, like, moment for me going, wow, like I learned the most from my newest people.
Yeah.
That's who I'm learning. Like the day we stop learning from the people underneath us too, like there are rock stars on my team that are way smarter than me at so many things. What if I didn't choose to learn from them? I wouldn't be as good of a leader. So anyways, like that's just crazy. But okay. So the A-Player Workshop, really excited. Those of you on here might know my good friends, John and Nadia Melton. So they're some of my besties. We hang out a lot. We do a lot of stuff together. They're just phenomenal, just like Rob, just phenomenal human beings that give you the shirt off their back. Like they're great people. And we actually have put together a free workshop on October 15th. It is our A-Player Workshop. And this is why I'm really excited about it. So one of my favorite things to do, like I shared in the beginning, is really to help people get more efficient in their business, right? Like really dial in on what's going to move the needle forward the most so they can spend less time and make more impact, make more money. And one of the biggest things, the biggest skills that I learned, and let me tell you, there's no magic pill to success. There is nothing that is going to make your business just explode super fast. Like that's a bunch of BS. If anybody tells you that, run far away. but there are skills that you can learn that can absolutely move the needle forward faster. And one of those skills that I learned really early on was how to talk to the right people, people who had more influence, people who had, you know, the right kind of qualities and the right kind of mindset that actually had them moving faster through my business. And so what we're going to do in this A player workshop for free is we're going to teach you how to attract, enroll, and duplicate A players into your business. And like I said, it's super excited. It's going to be October 15th. It's myself. It's John and Nadia Melton. We even have another special guest that we're going to be bringing on. And it's going to be 4 hours with you guys of really, digging in for free.
And that can be intimidating for a lot of people, reaching up. And, you know, we hear about the law of association, but a lot of us just get stuck, right? And we don't realize, you know, of course, you got to level up yourself, but also reaching up and getting mentorship, but then also associating and how it can help you out. And some people are scared to reach out to their chicken list for even sponsoring and recruiting. And so, you know, I don't know if I've ever seen a training this specific, you know, on this. That's exciting.
Yeah, we're really, really excited about it. And here's the thing, you guys, I used to be scared to talk to these kinds of people. Rob probably used to be scared to talk to these kinds of people. It's a total normal feeling. I'll tell you one thing. I'll give you a little thing that I do. And Rob's probably going to laugh at me for saying this, but like, you know how they talk about public speaking? Like you should imagine everybody in their underwear. So one of the things that I started doing is I was like, okay, so like, I know I need to talk to these people who are more successful than me, who, you know, are business minded, but I'm scared. Like, oh my gosh, how do I talk to these people? And so I started to imagine everybody sitting on the toilet and pooping, because everybody poops. Did you know that, Rob, that everybody poops?
I did actually.
But seriously, you guys, you would think something like that is so stupid, but like putting yourself in there, like how many of you are checking your email or you're doing your messaging, you're prospecting? Don't even lie when you're sitting on the toilet. Like this is everybody on the planet. Like everybody does that. These A players, successful, they also do it. So we're going to come with some really fun little tips and tricks to help your mindset, but we're also going to give you like some really great strategies. We're going to help you build a list in real time. We're going to help you learn how to reach out to these people, what to say. It's going to be really good.
Well, I love that. I think it's a very needed, necessary topic, because a lot of times what happens is we go on this sponsor. We know specifically in your business, customers are the lifeblood, the most important part of your business. And then after that, what happens with sponsoring and recruiting is, you know, someone's a 7, they recruit a 6, and the 6 recruits a 5, and the 5 recruits a 4, and the 4 recruits a 3. We're not judging them as human beings. We're just talking about skill set where they're currently at. Mm-hmm. And instead, I always looked at it, if you're a 7, how is it possible to go find an 8? Right. And there are ways. And I know some of the things they're going to talk about, and they'll talk about some things I don't know about that I could learn. But that was one of my favorite things to do, is every so often as teams, we'd go on these chicken list challenges. And I know it's much bigger than that. And yes, it's people that have had success in all different areas of life, and it's different ways that it can help you. And so it's something you're not going to want to miss. And my challenge for all of you is you tune into it, like make sure you're taking notes and you're writing down what you're actually going to implement and execute. So it's not just a bunch of cute ideas, right? Where you walk away, oh, that was amazing. Instead, like, what's the one thing you're going to do and implement to make it happen? Well, Brynn, where can everybody find you on all the awesome social media platforms besides MySpace?
Yeah, you can find me pretty much most everywhere. You might be able to find me on MySpace still. So with my 5, what is it? You're like 5, your top 5. You have to pick friends who are your like top 5 favorite. You're like, oh gosh, who's going to get mad at me today? I take them out of my top 5. I'm over on Facebook. My personal profile is Brynn Lang. I have a business page, Brynn Nicole Lang. You can find me over on Instagram at Brynn Lang 1. And I actually have a website. You can find me over there. You can sign up for my newsletter. I send emails every day, lots of free value. Like Rob said, it's all about, you know, serving and giving over at thebrynlang.com.
Love it. Well, thanks so much for coming on, friend. I appreciate you. Keep smashing it. keep having fun and keep making funny posts besides providing a ton of value.
Thank you for having me, Rob. You rock. And whoop, whoop. Y'all drop some whoop whoops for Rob because he's the man.